Self-worth and spirituality. This is part 6 of my 6-part videos on self-worth and how we think. In this video, I talk about how we think about our self-worth from a spiritual perspective. Hi, this is Steve Elliker here, your Living Life on Purpose coach. And today, we will talk about self-worth and spirituality. We will be looking at self-worth from an important but very different perspective of the spirit self. Now, spirituality is something greater than yourself, something that you are always part of if we but knew it. We all have unique egos and yet all have the same spirituality. In the spirit world, we are all one with the divine. I'm not talking religion here, although all religions are a metaphor for spirituality. We know that all of life is energy. Even that which is dead has atomic or even smaller particles that have energy that can never be destroyed. Our bodies are complex and fascinating containers for us to live out our human existence. Our human existence then becomes slowly dominated by our egos as we grow up. And yet underpinning our ego is our invisible spirituality, an energy life force that currently defies any kind of definition. And within all of us, either on the surface or buried by our psyche, is a spirit that collectively and singly is a force for good. Our ego hides our spirit nature, and in fact the unbounded ego can be attracted to evil. Our spirit is a very quiet force that is quiescent. Our ego, however, is a loud voice that likes to a greater or less extent to control or dominate our human experience. However, our self-worth is innate and embedded within our spirit energy, and mostly and quietly influences our ego as a force for good. The battle between good and evil in this world of duality is primarily a battle between our spirit and its quiet influence on our unbounded or uncontained and loud ego. Society, however, does provide boundaries to contain our out-of-control egos with its rules, regulations and laws. Because self-worth is a product of our spirit self, or Shen as the Taoists call it, self-worth cannot be destroyed. Our spirit lives on when we die, returning once again to the world of non-duality. After our ego spirit has experienced the duality of being human and experiencing ourselves as sentient beings. When all our spirit energy leaves us, its energy returns to the spirit world where it exists as pure love and bliss and with non-duality. For many people, for example monks, returning to their spirit self during their lifetime is a lifelong journey, battling with their ego and human challenging experiences that briefly define uniquely who we are, until it's time for us to leave this place. However, while you're here, find your way back to your spiritual sense of self, who has and always will feel worthy. We do this by engaging with silence, engaging with our body awareness, particularly the breath, and the absence of drama, and instead communing with nature. Whilst moving towards self-actualization and the divine, Eckhart Tolle says, in the search for presence and the divine, we must die before we die. And what he means by this is we must, through presence and the power of the present moment, allow our ego to die or diminish to enable us to return to our divine source. Now, our spirit energy is a quiet energy that whispers. Our ego, however, is loud and brash, a brash internal voice that dominates our life experience. When we quieten our ego, we can invite the spirit energy to quietly enter. If we are fortunate enough to self-actualize in our human lifetime, we will experience two worlds in harmony, the bliss of experiencing and connected to the divine source whilst using our ego as required to live our life, our day-to-day life routines of simply being human, whether that's navigating through intimate and work relationships to planning the life you want to live. You are here to have a human experience of duality, which you cannot experience in the non-duality world of the spirit world. But you can experience your spirit source while experiencing the life of a sentient being. Although this is a difficult concept to relate to. I hope, however, you will grasp the importance of knowing that your self-worth cannot be destroyed. Learn gradually to separate your ego self from your spiritual sense of self, just as a concept for now. Practice dialing down the volume of your ego self, knowing that your self-worth will always be intact. Pull away the shroud that covers and hides your indestructible self-worth. That shroud is your ego self that has been indoctrinated with negativity growing up. We can modify our ego, yet our spirit self lives on in the state of divine bliss, hidden by our ego self, until you decide to put your ego self to one side and engage with the divine and live your life with blissful purpose. Thank you so much for listening.